This is Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Slecker and Dr. Johnny Lupinacci, educated educators talking education.
Yes, it is Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. Educated educators talking education. Saturday drop. Johnny Lupinacci, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. You know, it's middle of hockey season for us. Well, I shouldn't say middle. It's the thick of it. It's fall.
Yeah.
It is that time of year in classrooms around the country, whether you're in higher ed or you're in K-12. You know what I'm talking about. We are counting down the days to a little break over Thanksgiving, a little bit of a break.
You're already thinking
it's
about
Saturday, but yeah, man, I need it. That's for us teachers when we catch up and breathe. That's the first breather. Veterans Weekend was great. Hey, so thank you out there, listeners who serve our country or whose loved ones and folks close to them serve. We don't have democracy without our armed services. And that's a whole separate discussion for another day. But thank you for your service out there, veterans. And, it's a little bit late, but we're not on every day. You catch our drops on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we are broadcast on Saturdays. And if it's not Saturday and you're listening to this, it's because you downloaded it as a podcast. So that's another great way to listen too. So I'm good, Tim.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, hey, make sure you download that Civic Media app, because that way you can always catch all of those podcasts every single time. Well, Johnny, I love being back to doing the radio show. Love the podcast, love homeroom, love classes in session, love, first downs and Friday nights. But again, the energy of doing the show with you, with the guests and everything we're doing. I love this, Johnny. Lots going on. We have had this conversation now, ever since ChatGPT broke into our world, a little bit of AI, and everybody who's been listening to the show know Tim and Johnny have a little bit of a disagreement when it comes to artificial intelligence and education. We're going to get into a discussion with that. But Johnny, we have an incredible guest. He's a powerhouse in pushing education forward, combining on-the-ground K-12 experience with cutting-edge digital transformation. He's a champion for teachers and students alike, working with Khan Academy to bring Khanmigo, an AI-driven educational game changer, into classrooms across the country. He's a Michigan State PhD who knows the complex factors that impact student success, especially for students with disabilities. And he's using that expertise to shape a more inclusive and dynamic learning environment. Welcome to Busted Pencils, Dr. Jason Feig. How are you, Jason?
Wow, I could not be any better. Thanks for having me.
How you like that intro, man?
That was a pretty impressive interview. But, Tim, you didn't tell me that there was a possible disagreement right out of the gate between you and Johnny around this conversation.
He
didn't prep me for that.
He plays it up pretty big because we actually converge on some similarities. But I like to tease him. I say, and Tim drinks the Kool-Aid. For him, AI is a whole cultural movement. And I think it's related. For me, I'm always like, Tim, it's a powerful tool that I was slow on the uptake. But like drum machines and all the other technologies in my lifetime that revolutionized things I like to do, AI is changing, not for the worse. It's really a tool that's helping me teach better. And it's helping me engage learners and helping me in ways I didn't anticipate it would. So I'm a slight convert. I'm still digging in though, and I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid and saying like, it is my new religion.
I'm not, again, no. Come on, it's not even my religion either. What we talk about, we are kidding. It's not really really a disagreement as much as we just potentially see the impact. Johnny, just so you know, is coming from first of all, is a math educator and social studies educator, and really uses the introduction of the calculator as a way to help people understand this moment with AI. Yeah. I've had some guests on and who are kind of like, it's more than a calculator. And I think that's maybe the difference. It's more than a calculator. Johnny's like, it's definitely a calculator, but it's a really, really powerful tool. But Jason, so you're with the Khan Academy, but before the Khan Academy though, because we got to get the cred, because we are educated educators talking education. Tell us about the journey on your way to the Khan Academy.
Sure. Yeah. I started my bachelor's degree at Spring Arbor University. Completed my work there, and then based in Michigan. And then I started as a second grade teacher, and I spent 1 year in second grade. Then I had an opportunity to teach third grade. Was married, and then my wife and I decided to move from the Spring Arbor area back to our hometown of Fowlerville in Michigan, where I was able to spend a couple years as a third grade teacher. All really transformative experiences, right? Lots to learn. And then I had an opportunity after a couple years in third grade. I shifted districts to a little bit larger district in Howell, Michigan, where I was a sixth grade science and social studies teacher. And I also coached varsity basketball. And then there was this moment, and I think Tim, when we talked about this, there's this moment I'm coaching basketball, and I came to school the next day in my sixth grade classroom, and the superintendent at the time said, "Hey, I was watching you coach. I think you'd be a great school administrator." Well, at 27, the answer is for sure. Yeah. I've been waiting for you to come along, not knowing, anything at all what that meant. And so then I had an opportunity to move from the classroom to start as an assistant principal at a middle school for 1 year. And then 1 year, and then was offered the opportunity to work in the highest performing elementary school as principal with a number of veteran teachers.
Right.
And that set me off in this, it was about 10-year course where I worked for 7 superintendents in 10 years. And what that means is that when a new superintendent arrives, things change. Opportunities present themselves. So I went from a middle school assistant principal, elementary principal, middle school principal, high school principal, high school assistant principal. And I think we talked about this. It's one of the most humbling experiences of your life to be a school leader for lots of reasons.
Right. Well, all of that too. It's just we had just for the listener. Yes, Jason and I, we talked before the show just to get acquainted, and we shared stories. And guess what? All great educated educators who talk education, Johnny. Well, we have our start as teachers, but Johnny, here's the deal. Jason, second grade teacher, just like Tim, second grade teacher. And guess how long Jason and Tim lasted teaching second grade? 1 year. That was it. And then all the Michigan talk too, you're talking about that, Jason, just so Johnny, you see Johnny put in the notes.
I get so excited because I'm a big fan of teachers from the mitten myself.
All right. I had no idea. Good stuff.
All the love to all the great places that Jason referenced and the amazing teachers and folks out there. We've seen a lot, Jason, over that span. Like that region is a canary in the coal mine for so many of the things happening nationally right now. And so, this is exciting to have this conversation because some of our backgrounds are similar. We overlap, and I really champion that as much as I can. It's a unique opportunity that, like Jason and myself, we came into by location. There was some very interesting shifts in politics and changes in school structures, and some hurdles that many states right now are just coming up against. And Michigan folks have been through, the ringer on it. And so have our Wisconsin listeners. They can relate. But Jason, love it, man.
Well, so Jason, all of the cred there working in education, then Michigan State PhD. The question though is to the Khan Academy. How do you get to the Khan Academy? And, then of course we're going to say, and for anybody who's listening who doesn't know what the Khan Academy is, we're also going to have Jason break that down for us a little bit. But Jason, all of that experience, classroom teacher, classroom leader, school leader, different superintendents. How do you end up with the Khan Academy?
So, there was this moment when I was working in a high school that I began to really start to consider what I wanted to do. And to be quite honest, I was burned out for lots of reasons. And I picked up the phone. I started making several phone calls to friends and family, anybody I'd worked with, just looking at some other opportunities. And a former superintendent that I had worked with was currently working at the College Board, working on the SAT contract in Michigan. and an opportunity presented itself. So for a few years, I worked with Ted Gardella to help implement the SAT contract. So I met with a lot of schools, and then that opportunity led to work in the state of Indiana, where I was able to help implement the SAT contract. And then during that journey at College Board, I started to reach out to Khan Academy, because College Board and Khan Academy have a partnership for SAT practice. And just started reaching out, asking about this thing called official SAT practice, built some relationships. And then just out of really nowhere, I received a phone call from Khan Academy about an opportunity. It was the only time that I paused in terms of changing roles, because I have three in college, and there was a lot to really think about. And then a week later or 2 weeks later, through some conversation, it offered me an opportunity to join Khan Academy team.
Wow. Think of that. All that moving in the burned out. We've all felt that too in the classroom so many times. But then, so Jason, with the Khan Academy, and I know everybody's listening, go, what about the AI you guys started with? We're going to get there. Everybody chill out. But the Khan Academy, just briefly, we got 2 minutes before the break. What is the Khan Academy? What's the Khan Academy?
Yeah, Khan Academy's mission is to provide a world-class education for anyone, anywhere. If you've had a chance to hear Sal Khan talk at all about his story and how sort of the what gave birth to Khan Academy, it was an exchange with a cousin and doing some tutoring across the country. A lot of in-between story there, but essentially it led to the development of Khan Academy, full-length mastery-enabled set of courses that now over 50 million, we have over 50 million users across the globe.
Wow. Holy crap. Our guest, Dr. Jason Feig, he is with the Khan Academy, talking about, though, what we're really going to be going into, Khanmigo, which is the Khan Academy's use of artificial intelligence. It's busted pencils. It's fully leaded education talk. Yeah, we are educated educators. We're talking education. Again, our guest is Dr. Jason Feig, Khan Academy, Khanmigo, artificial intelligence. Oh, yeah, we're putting it all together. And Johnny, I'm telling you, man, it's more than a tool. See you when we get back.
Because we get around.
Man, Aaron Zommer's on the board, bringing us some great music. It's Busted Pencils. It's fully leaded education talk. Educated educators talking education. Our guest, Dr. Jason Feig, is with the Khan Academy, but, started off second grade teacher, assistant principal, building principal, all this kind of educated educator. Yeah, that's what we bring on this show all the time. But with the Khan Academy, got a brief little intro on the Khan Academy, Jason. And yeah, if you're in K-12, I know people are saying like, oh, Tim, we already know about the Khan Academy. We use it. My cousin used it. My goodness. I always think about the Khan Academy too, of going like, boy, I wish there was something like that when I was failing calculus. Because, there was no hope for me. Put me back in remedial algebra. And yeah, I got by with a C, but I would have liked to have had the Khan Academy. But we're really digging in now too, though, with artificial intelligence. And Khan Academy has released, and Jason, maybe you can just help us, though, what's called Khanmigo. And what is Khanmigo, and how does artificial intelligence come into play? Tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, so at a high level, Khanmigo is an AI tutor for students that lays over the top of the Khan Academy content, and an assistant for teachers that provides teachers the opportunity to engage with AI in a variety of ways. I typically talk about the teacher side of it as typical teacher movements, building lesson plans, lesson hooks, assessments, And so, again, frame that more along the lines of typical teacher movements to support and save time.
And so this is ed tech, but first of all, for somebody or teachers out there going, oh my goodness, not another ed tech tool. All right, Jason. So talk to me. I'm a teacher out there going, wait a minute, this is ed tech, this artificial intelligence. Are you trying to replace me?
Oh, it's such a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. Okay. So I feel really fortunate. I get to work with 12 different states, a ton of educators across the Midwest. And this conversation that's recently emerged around AI, I always take a step back. First and foremost, anytime I'm talking to a school or any educators, high quality instruction, the human element still matters and will always matter most. That human connection, the ability to know students, is the most critical part of this story. And so, again, having the opportunity to engage with a number of states, a number of educators, always bring it back to start there. And then the second part of the conversation, when we talk about Khan Academy and the emergence of AI, is really our platform prior to Khanmigo and AI was built as a core supplement for educators and as a resource for students, anytime, anywhere. Built on mastery-based learning, students learning at their own rate. And then this transition from Khan Academy's traditional platform, which operates exactly the same way. I like to tell a brief story about this transition window. When Sal came to us and said, hey, listen, GPT-4 looks like we have an opportunity to build an AI tool to be a really quality tutor, teacher assistant. I'll never forget that day. Because I was at home on the couch, had access to Khanmigo for the first time, and was just playing around a bit. And actually in an Algebra 1 class, a lot of fond memories of Algebra 1 back in the day. And I physically stood up off the couch. And the reason I stood up off the couch is it began to, the ability for students to access a one-to-one tutor anytime and teachers to save time. I was thinking about all of these use cases as a school teacher and an administrator. Not only teachers with the number of students that they have and all the tasks that they have, but also from the student perspective, I was thinking about that student in the back of the room that wouldn't engage. That student that maybe is on the bus and is involved in 3 or 4 extracurricular activities. The family that does not have, that may not have the means to provide one-to-one tutoring. And I physically stood up because I was thinking of all of these scenarios. And I'm not here to suggest that this is the cure-all in any way. The reason I stood up and now in the last couple of years have been fully sort of immersed in the story is that it does potentially solve for some really big challenges. One-to-one tutoring. We know that's historically been a great challenge for lots of reasons. We know that one-to-one tutoring makes a difference. We know that teachers are inundated, right? My wife's a 3rd grade teacher. And I think about what her 6 to 8 p.m. on Sunday night is. It's just all this planning and preparation. And if this can help save time, that's a big win for educators and students.
Right. So you're talking two different use cases there too. The teacher from the workload there too, but then the students one-to-one tutoring, really, kind of laying in on that. Johnny Lupinacci, though, you got some thoughts there, I'm sure, my friend.
Well, I do. And I'm just excited to hear this because, this resonates with me, Tim. I love hearing what Jason's sharing. Not only is it a tool for teachers, it's a tool. Best educational technologies are in the hands of learners, right? And, and at disposal of educators. Great educators know what their students need. And it's just sometimes we can't clone ourselves into 12 people in the classroom to be in these small groups, to be one-on-one, to give students repetition and to give them multiple means of accessing information that we are facilitating and helping bring to the classroom. So it's a win-win. That's an educational technology that myself as an educator, I'm like, that's something I got to try. And so I've been trying AI tools in the classroom because it is, when you use, like Jason said, not as a replacement to having a great teacher, but as a value added to a learning space where so many different learners can be awake and alive. Right. That's the goal all of us teachers have, is like that rush we chase, is that moment when our students are awake and alive and they're learning, the aesthetic of being in a classroom that's engaging. And I found AI to be a tool of engagement when used right. So I love hearing this. And I know listeners, you're probably like, man, what's my experience with AI? I've got some thoughts about it. If you do, you can call us at 608-557-8577. That's 608-557-8577. And leave your comment in our Busted Pencils mailbag. And, we'll get to it because I doubt that this is the last time we have Jason on. Our guy here is talking. He's dropping knowledge that both Tim and I are vibing with.
Yeah,
and as we talked about before, usually Tim and I are beefing, but Jason is a unifier here. Speaking both of our languages.
He's bringing us back together. Yeah. Our guest, Dr. Jason Feig, he's with the Khan Academy, talking everything though now artificial intelligence. Khanmigo, from the Khan Academy is the Khan Academy's artificial intelligence. Jason, coming up on another break, but I was thinking about this question. Maybe we could put this out there and you can think about this during the break. Somebody's saying, well, Khan Academy, Khanmigo, what's the difference? I mean, what's Khanmigo do that's different than the Khan Academy? Yeah, I've used Khan Academy. My nephews, we use it with them. I've seen this, teachers. Why does somebody make the transition, or is Khanmigo connected to Khan Academy? I just want so listeners can understand the difference, because Khan Academy was, as you said, was going on working, Sal put it together, longest time working out there to really just help kind of provide that support. But Khanmigo really changes so many of the things. And I know somebody's out there going, well, what's the difference between Khanmigo and ChatGPT and Gemini and all of those interesting tools? Man, we got lots of questions. Our guest, Dr. Jason Feig, Khan Academy. It's Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. Yeah, hold on, man, because we got a lot more when we'll be right back. Johnny, see, this is the part I miss, man. I love being back doing the hour show. It's Busted Pencils. It's fully leaded education talk. Educated educators talking education. Yes, and I will make that claim again. Yeah, we know we have the best bumper music out there for anybody listening. It's Busted Pencils, man, bringing it all to you. Our guest, Dr. Jason Feig, Khan Academy, talking Khan Academy, artificial intelligence, Khanmigo. And Jason, during the break, I kind of set this up. What, like Khan Academy, Khanmigo, artificial intelligence, make sense of it so that I understand the difference, or maybe there's not.
Yeah. So when you think Khan Academy, we talked earlier about this, but historically, from the beginning, Khan Academy provides a series of courses, full-length master-enabled courses. Everything from a series of math courses to middle and high school science to practicing for the SAT. So those courses are completely free. They're available to students and educators. And again, over 50 million users worldwide access the Khan Academy platform. Where Khanmigo comes into play is Khanmigo is an AI tool that lays on top of that content. So when a student is engaging with one of the courses, Khanmigo is directly connected to each course, and students have the ability to work through a course with a one-to-one tutor. The key thing about Khanmigo when we built this out was we paid attention to guardrails. So we didn't want Khanmigo to just provide an answer to students. So Khanmigo's response to students is to pose questions back, to act just like a great one-to-one tutor or a great teacher would. So we have a series of guardrails built in so that the chats are logged and viewable so the teacher can see into that conversation. And because academic integrity is something that comes up with every educator I talk to when you talk about AI, about can students cheat? So we built Khanmigo to lay on top of this content to ensure that it engaged in a way similar to an educator or a tutor. Now on the teacher side of Khanmigo is a series of opportunities for a teacher to engage, and again, from building lesson plans to lesson hooks to make sense of the data in their class. And so the concept behind the teacher side of it is how can we help teachers be more efficient to get at that relational human engagement. And so the Khanmigo teacher side has a whole list of opportunities for teachers to engage in a variety of different ways so that they can be more efficient.
Okay, so I have a question too, because I know a few teachers I've been working with doing some, workshops with artificial intelligence, not with Khan Academy. I think a couple of the teachers I would work with that I've done some professional development for might say, and I'm just going to use. So Jason, we've been using Magic School Bus in our school. What's the difference between Magic School Bus and Khanmigo?
Yeah, what sets Khan Academy and Khanmigo apart is that we have an AI tool that lays on top of content. Okay. And it's I often will describe that when we talk to schools as this is not an AI tool that's floating out there, right? It's not. It's directly connected to content. And so students engaging in a course, Khanmigo is there that lays over the top of that, and students can engage within a particular course with a one-to-one tutor on all the content that we have to offer.
Okay, so that's the kind of the difference. I said Magic School Bus, I meant Magic School, AI Magic.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm going back to my second grade days there in fifth grade. There, Miss Frizzle, the Magic School Bus, reading back of that.
I was there with you.
Okay, we know what we're talking about. Johnny Lupinacci, though. Okay, Johnny, Khanmigo. You've been talking about using artificial intelligence. My guess is you're kind of like me. You're using like ChatGPT, Gemini, the AI tools, not specifically like a Khanmigo.
Well, Tim, actually, it's kind of all of the above. Like anytime I'm doing my own learning and I can bring it into the classroom, it's just a win-win. And so, doing some of the workshops and some of the lab classes, the flash courses that ACUE offers, that's ACUE, around artificial intelligence in the classroom. And that's mostly for higher ed, but it's helped me see a value of taking time each semester to sit down with future teachers. So I teach future teachers, and I also work with elementary schools and high schools and teachers in those schools, but teaching future teachers who, for the most part, 19, 20, 21 years old in class, preparing to be teachers. AI is something they're already somewhat familiar with as learners. Some of their teachers have utilized it in their high school and middle school learning. This stuff moves quick, right? But I like to give a background. Like, here's a little context of what constitutes something as AI. We have different versions and variations. We have like spell check, autocomplete. We have text assistance in our phones. We have all these different things. You've noticed how amazing Google's gotten in the last 5-10 years with completing the search for you and knowing what you want. And that when you're on your social media, somehow it knows that I'm shopping for Dustbusters. So like there is a lot of intelligence going into the technology that is in our hands and as a result, also in our workspaces, which are learning spaces for so many children. So we give a background on the different types. Then we start talking about how we use AI in our day-to-day lives as part of our profession. And so then we give a breakdown. Here are some of the tools that they're experiencing out in the schools that teachers are using, that districts are encouraging, some of the conversations, the debates and the dilemmas and all of those things. And so, I mostly use, a form of AI that, is like a chat bot, right? And it's learning as I use it more, and it's all that kind of stuff. But that's my own personal professional use of it. In class, I would say there's groups, categories of types of AI that students are introduced to, exploring, and looking at. I approach it much like I do any educational technology. How is it increasing the engagement of your students? And specifically for me, universally designed learning framework, like how are you providing multiple means of access for diverse learners so they can ask questions in repetition without necessarily being shy or wanting to worry about interrupting you or waiting turns. There's a lot of value to a great teacher in a classroom. And then a great teacher in a classroom is what I tell students, also have these amazing tools that they bring to them in with their toolbox and that they share with students. The best teachers are sharing educational tools with students So they're hands-on engaged with the learning. And I've seen some real powerful moments with AI just in the last few semesters. It's like mind blowing.
Right.
So, that's a little bit of my conversion story as it's happening. But Tim, again, reminiscent of back in the day when they said math teachers don't use the graphing calculator because students are cheating on their math. And we were like, hey, actually, if we change the kinds of problems and ways we're asking our students to engage, this is a really powerful learning moment. And this actually is enhancing our math learning, right? And this is certainly, I think, like the boundaries pushed way out with these tools than just the calculator. So, I mean, it's an exciting moment to be a teacher. It's an even more exciting moment to be a learner. Because I think this is reaching so many of the things many of us didn't necessarily have words to explain why school wasn't working so great for us.
Jason, yeah, in fact, Johnny, with that, and I'll kind of put this because, I mean, you have about your PhD is more around special education. And in fact, I think I was listening to you on another podcast and you really talking about, imagining the possibilities of meeting students with special learning needs in AI. I wonder, if you can jump in there and talk just a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, whether it's a student with a disability or not in a classroom, you have a diverse set of learners, and every teacher faces this every day in the classroom. And I think the emergence of AI, and Jenny was touching on this, it's almost a whole nother conversation.
Right.
The emergence of this technology, while AI has been around for a long time, you really can go back, at least in this conversation, November of 22, right?
Right.
Where GPT can put right. And then all of a sudden, here we are just inundated with conversation about AI and technologies and startups. And so there's an entirely new moment where a period of sense making, right? Of what is this? It's a technology that enters the classroom. And now when you talk about students, I think, again, whether it's a student with a disability, a student that maybe just generally isn't engaged, I referenced sitting in the back of the classroom, I think it does provide an interesting opportunity as we move forward, as we all sort of make sense of this, where students can engage in more personalized learning than ever before, because it provides teachers an opportunity also to be able to do some things with the use of AI, to be able to better manage, to be able to better either articulate or open up various opportunities to a broad range of students in the classroom.
I think about it, from this standpoint myself, is when I think about different students and different learning styles. And you say one of the challenges of being a teacher, I think it's like my first year teaching second grade, 29 to 31 little 7 to 8 year olds in front of me, and quote, you're supposed to teach them all in their own learning style. And you're like, man, I don't think I can really do that. I really want to. As we start to now, I start to see artificial intelligence, this concept of, I need this lesson plan from the point of view of learners with a hearing type of an impairment. I have students who are visually much more engaged. I have students, I can feed all of those student individual learning variables into the artificial intelligence to create lesson plans, lesson scripts, and things like that allow me to really start to do some of that individualized work with those students and really reach them. And I see that's this kind of moment, whether it's Khanmigo, any of those things, but AI is really giving us this chance now to say, we do see you in that back of the room, not really getting it. Hey, check it out. Come over here. Let's look at this. Let's talk about this, because I have a feeling now we might be able to help you get what it is that you're not engaging with, whether it's that disconnected student, whether it's just truly a student having a tough time. Think about English language learners and how we talk about this and the way that this can do. So I'm more now on just the general artificial intelligence outside of Khanmigo, and just because this is where, and I don't want to say Johnny and I are different, but I see this as a cultural transformation tool more than just a learning tool. What do you think on that?
Yeah, and Tim, well, you touched on something at the beginning about, the ability to teach every student, every learning style, every single day. And as educators, we'd say, yeah, absolutely, that's our role. Yeah, we can pull that off. you don't run into educators, that's what we're called to do. But it is interesting what the potential is and the realities that teachers face on a day-to-day basis with this technology, because you were framing it up as just sort of one bucket of resources, whether it's Khanmigo or some of the other resources around lesson planning and thinking through, I have a group of students, I can be now more efficient with data than ever. And now I have the ability to personalize in a much more efficient way. It goes back to where we started, I think, in the first segment. We were talking about, from the Khan Academy standpoint, if we can help teachers be more efficient and save some time and get and engage students in a deeper way, that's a win, not just for Khan Academy, but education broadly across the globe.
Man, what a great conversation. Our guest, Dr. Jason Feig. Jason, though, check this out. Man, we're already at the end. So Khan Academy, Jason Feig, people want to find you. We already gave them our phone number, but this is your opportunity, man. Tell us where they can go get you.
Yeah, so I can be found, Jason, F-E-I-G, Jason Feig at khanacademy.org, or educators can simply go to khanacademy.org and you can find a landing page where you can connect with our team. I specifically engage with districts as first point of contact across the country, across the Midwest, schools that are interested in partnering with us and exploring Khanmigo in a much more deeply way. I'd also say we're super excited. We have a partnership with Microsoft that if a teacher currently goes to khanacademy.org and they want to utilize the courses with students, all those Khanmigo teacher tools are on their main dashboard on the right-hand side, and they can access those the tools we talked about today.
Man, Dr. Jason Feig. Yeah, Khan Academy. Jason, thank you so much for busting pencils.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Sir, thank you.
Hey, came back. Johnny and Tim breaking it down when we get back. Busted pencils, fully leaded education talk. Educated educators talking education. Man, loving doing the full hour with you, Johnny Lupinacci. Great guest. We just had Dr. Jason Feig from the Khan Academy, talking about, though, very specifically Khanmigo, which is the artificial intelligence part of the Khan Academy. And so, Johnny, you heard Jason talking about, so Khan Academy, producer Aaron was familiar with it. In fact, producer Aaron, give us a little shout out there. What do you remember about Khan Academy?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was I think it was in either middle school or high school when I was Googling a particular calculus thing, so it must have been high school. Anyway, I was Googling a particular math concept and trying to figure it out. And I saw Khan Academy and I looked and found just this YouTube channel that was a whole treasure trove of really helpful videos that it was basically like a digital blackboard that they would draw on and then circle stuff and point things out. It was so useful.
Nice. Yeah. And in producer Jess too, it really talked about this. And so I really, my time at teaching and learning, yeah, guess what? Sorry, we had Cliff Notes, man. That was my artificial intelligence for reading. And when it came to math, the best thing I could do was meet with Mr. Sable down the street, who would sometimes sit with me for hours at a time trying to help me learn my algebra. Would have liked to have had Khan Academy. But then the artificial intelligence Khanmigo. And Johnny, you hear Jason talking about this kind of two uses. There's the one-to-one tutoring that students can have access to when they're taking some of the Khan Academy classes. And then though the teachers that are using this too, there's the Khanmigo tool as kind of like that assistant, a teaching assistant, where it does lesson planning. It helps them. And we didn't even really get into this, where Jason says it can help you look at the data that you're looking at to make decisions. So full package. But artificial intelligence, Johnny Lupinacci, are you still with the tool, or do you see it as a cultural movement?
It's a tool, man. It's like any good tool. It's shaping and it's interfacing with culture, because culture is dynamic, right? So it's gonna change culture. But I just cringe a little bit, and also throw caution to, the difference between and Jason brought this up, to me, defining what a tool is at the disposal and use and enhancement of human experiences. Mm-hmm. And so I remember a talk given back in the early maybe mid to late 90s. And we were talking about evolution, biology. So some like evolutionary biologists were talking about, the next stage of human evolution. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna have to look this up. So hold me to this, Tim, because I want to get. I draw these blanks sometimes. I want to say, I don't think it was E.O. Wilson, but it might have been. But they had said something along the lines that the next stage of human evolution was artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
and fundamentally, like, we aren't machines, and we will never be machines, even in the advent of like cyborg idea, like how we're interfaced with machines in a way that changes our human experience. I think that's very real, and we're on the precipice, if not already in that. Right. Okay. And so late 90s, we were hearing that that's the future. We're in that moment right now. The future is now. Yeah, right. And so I'm understanding a little bit more of that. I just throw caution to that idea that, we really remember to keep separate, that we are not machines. So much of our human identity, especially in Western culture, has been shaped and influenced by this idea that we're, atomized, that we're, machine parts. Mm. So similar to my car, like if I need something new, just get something new on there. And that's not entirely untrue, except at the root metaphor level. If my understanding of self is that I'm a machine, then I will work like a machine, and I will function like a machine. And I know our educators amplified friends, but I remind us, Tim and Johnny, you're not machines.
Right.
You're human. You have reason and emotion, and a balance between those things, which when I referenced Western culture, I really, want to say, like, not to homogenize all Eastern culture as the opposite, but diverse epistemologies, diverse ways of knowing why we're here and who we are around the world have maintained a strong balance between, right? We are human, and that there are technologies, there are different, like, we're reason and emotion, not just reason and machine. And so Western culture has fallen into a deep trap of technology will save us. We are technology. It's blurred those lines in ways that has allowed us to do some really destructive things to ourselves and to one another. They've been the rationalization and justification for so much exploitation and atrocity around the world, war, learning, all these different things. So I just throw caution to it, saying, like, hey, it's influencing culture, but it isn't culture.
It's not
and
culture.
I tease you, Tim, and I say, I like to tease you because Tim's a Marxist, folks. So Tim doesn't like religions, but his new religion is AI.
Oh, Johnny Lupinacci
with his AI bots, and I'm teasing him now, folks. But that's a little bit about it. I got into the depths, into the weeds of it.
Yeah,
Tim.
you did.
But I do think it's so powerful, Tim, and I'm so excited that you pushed me to learn what is this. And I think that's the truth in the moment for all great educators. And I'm an aspiring great educator, right? That's the goal I have, is to be learning to be the best educator I can be for the students that I teach. And so, as part of that, learning how AI can make me a better teacher, but that I can also hold it to some boundaries, right? That doesn't replace the human experience. It is, to me, incapable of, emotion. Although some of the AI folks, some of the folks in your church, Tim,
dude, I'm telling you, we got a lot
because you can be loved by your AI machine. And yes, I said, whoa, hold on there. I think I heard that on a Frank Zappa album a long time ago.
Oh, it's Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. Typically, our moment of zen. Just going to read it. What most of us must be involved in has to not only make people feel good and inspired and at one with other people around them, but also has to educate a new generation to do this very modest thing, change the world. Check it out. Make sure you're with us on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All those Busted Pencils drops. Fully leaded education talk. Thanks, everybody, for busting pencils.